near and using a broader set of tools to provide content delivery that is much more natural and engaging. Through his use of technology from Surface to Microsoft Teams, he has seen a dramatic increase in student participation and engagement. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Kellerman.
Thanks for the introduction and g'day everyone. I've been teaching for 6 months now remotely to my engineering class at UNSW Sydney. And I've been using this setup right here that I'm showing you now. So I've got a Surface Hub 2S, I'm running Windows 10 on Surface, and it's enabling me to do a lot of really cool things. One of the things is that as a lecturer, I'm really used to standing up, pointing, gesturing, and really communicating with my students on this presentation style stage. And I've got a lot of space here to gesture and talk and really communicate. So I'm going to run you through how I run one of my lectures. So the first thing is there's a waiting lobby. It's actually a picture of the outside of our lecture theatre on campus. And I switch to this scene and I say, welcome everyone to Eng 2400. So you can see I'm capturing the chat in the screen. I've got my university logo and I've got my big Surface screen here that I can touch and interact with. One thing that you'll notice, of course, is that I can run digital ink here and draw and mark up different things on the screen. And actually the lighting here is changing in sync with the screen to help with contrast. And I can do that because I'm running Philips Hue Sync on this machine. Now, that's the Harbour Bridge. We often talk about the catenary curve of that bridge, and we might actually get down here and do an engineering analysis of the loading on that beam. Now, we jump over and we've got to get into the mathematics here at some point, and I might start doing calculations and derivations of this system. Now, it's getting a little bit small and hard to read, so I'm holding a remote here in my left hand and I'm running XSplit software. So click of a button, now I'm sharing screen with you, and you can now follow with my mathematics really closely. So we jump across and I've got a link here for a worked example. It's going to take me straight to OneNote class notebook. All of my students are owners of this notebook, and we're actually going to solve this problem together live. Now, as I start doing this, you'll notice that you're looking at my back. So I'm going to click another button now, and I'm going to share my screen from the Surface Hub camera instead. Now, one thing that you're going to notice is I'm looking over here at my camera, and off in the distance, I've got a bigger screen where I'm actually looking at all of my students in together mode. So I'm standing here in this scene presenting, I'm looking at my students, and I'm sharing everything I'm doing. So at this point, we start doing the calculation. I ask my students what equation should we use, and maybe I get a question from my students in the chat. So as I do that, I can actually see someone's asked, what if there is a moment applied to the beam? I'm going to use ink to shape here, and I'm going to quickly draw another version of the beam. I might color this in really quickly with the same colors, create my applied load here, a couple of reaction forces. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an applied moment, and we might take a different track with our analysis. I think this is really cool. We might also get a question from the students like, where does the maximum deflection occur? Which is really interesting. I might grab the ruler here in OneNote, and it's actually the point at which the gradient here is 0. So we go down, we solve this problem theoretically, but what does this actually mean in real life? Now, with this system here, I can actually jump back over to the full screen, maybe grab a model of a beam, and show the students what happens when we apply the moment here and see the deflection is occurring further across in this system. But we used to go and test this in the laboratory. The students can't go to the laboratory, it's closed at the moment. So what I did was I actually digitized the entire laboratory as a 3-dimensional space using Azure Connect. And you can see here, I've got my laboratory here. We can actually manipulate the space. We can take a look around. I've got a SharePoint document right here, which is the instructions of how to utilize the test rig here. And you can see in the background of the lab, there's the test rig, but I've actually digitized that rig into a 3-dimensional model. The students can manipulate and interact with that object, zoom in or out with that, and really take a close look. I think this is so cool.